America's top gymnast testified in Washington over the FBI's alleged mishandling of their sexual abuse claims. Simone Biles accused the agency of turning a blind eye to reports against former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. The athlete's emotional accounts came during a Senate hearing into a scathing Inspector General's report. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Tonight, the world's most elite gymnast appeared on a different stage.
Being here today is taking everything I have.
Tearfully opening up on Capitol Hill about the abuse they faced by former team doctor Larry Nassar.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
Olympian Simone Biles was one of 4 athletes who painstakingly described being molested by Nassar while competing at the highest level.
I was naked, completely alone, with him on top of me, molesting me for hours.
Gold medalist Michaela Maroney says when she told an FBI investigator what happened, she was met with silence.
After that minute of silence, he asked, "Is that all?" Those words in itself was one of the worst moments of this entire process for me.
Her case was one of the first to be referred to the FBI in July 2015, but the Bureau failed to properly investigate, according to an internal Justice Department report, waiting more than a year before opening a formal probe. By then, approximately 70 other young athletes had been assaulted by Nassar, who was later convicted.
The FBI and others within both USAG and USOPC knew that Nassar molested children and did nothing to restrict his access.
Days before the hearing, the FBI fired one of the lead agents on the case as senators pressed Director Christopher Wray on the failures.
What am I missing here?
I don't have a good explanation for you. It is utterly jarring to me.
Wray apologized and said the Bureau will not let this happen again.
I and my entire senior leadership team are going to make damn sure everybody at the FBI remembers what happened here.
Do you take him at his word?
I don't take people's words for things. It has to be action. And so, hopefully today will be a day that effectuates real meaningful change.
Joining me now from Capitol Hill is Nikole. So that testimony was absolutely chilling. I think that for people watching it at home, it reverberated, and the senators clearly made a statement that this probe is far from over. So tell us, what are the next steps in their investigation?
So the next steps is that lawmakers will likely hear from the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General as soon as next month. We don't expect those hearings to necessarily be focused solely on this investigation and probe of the FBI's mishandling of their investigation, but we do expect lawmakers potentially to get some opportunities to ask about this. That being said, certainly there are a lot of questions for the top leaders at the Justice Department, and during this hearing, they were panned several times, including from some of the gymnasts who, demanded to know why the Deputy Attorney General, for instance, wasn't here, and the kind of message that sends by not sending that level of official to this hearing. Now, granted, the director of the FBI testified, as did the Inspector General for the Justice Department, which issued that scathing report just a couple of months ago, detailing some of the FBI's failings and missteps in this investigation. But clearly, lawmakers want to hear more from this, as do these gymnasts. For them, they want to ultimately see an independent investigation, one, for instance, that doesn't involve USA Gymnastics. They want something, an outside entity, to kind of look into what happened. They feel that so many different individuals, organizations have been complicit in this pattern of abuse. And so for them, many of them expressed interest in some type of independent probe as they seek justice.
And we heard you asking a question that I think is in many of our heads. I'm wondering, Nikole, do you feel like the American people will have confidence that the FBI can adequately handle these types of cases given what we've just seen?
Well, that's really the point that a number of lawmakers raised. Look, if, you had this botched investigation into these claims and complaints from these world-class athletes, what does that mean for the average American out there who, may have a similar claim or instance of abuse? And so, that's really what it boils down to. And so the director of the FBI said that, he intends to make sure that not only he, but his senior leadership and the entire department, rectifies this. And he talked about some of the reforms that the Bureau has implemented, whether that is more training. For instance, we heard one episode where, one of the gymnasts talked about how she felt that one of the FBI investigators was really insensitive to her stories of abuse as she shared them with this investigator, saying to her at one point, are you done? Is that all? And so, one thing that the director pointed out is that, they do have, more skilled agents who can handle these kinds of abuse claims so that they can ask more sensitive questions or handle these claims in a more sensitive nature. He also talked about, putting in other safeguards and really double, tripping, quadruple checking things to make sure other cases going forward don't slip through the cracks.
And switching gears, Nikole, a rally is planned this Saturday in Washington in support of the January 6th Capitol insurrectionists. Tell us, how is law enforcement preparing for this?
Yeah, so this is the other big story we're following here on the Hill, and we have learned, CBS News has obtained some guidance that has gone out to members and staff here on Capitol Hill, informing them that this fencing will go up as soon as this evening. Will probably take about 24 hours to install. And again, this is just a temporary measure. The police chief, Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger, indicated that, if all goes well, that fencing will come down. But, keep in mind, they just took the fencing down about 2 months ago, at least that interior perimeter fence that surrounded the Capitol and had been there ever since January 6th. So, this is a security measure that U.S. Capitol Police are taking, considering the group that is involved here. We also know that all of their available staff will be on duty that day, that they have procured some security cameras, which are on loan to them from the Department of Defense, to help them survey the area, keep an eye on things. And we also know that a request has put in with the Department of Defense for the National Guard, who we expect will also assist that day, perhaps initially in a standby capacity. But, the Capitol Police, lawmakers here really not leaving anything to chance. And, most lawmakers, after briefings this week on the Hill, said that they do feel that U.S. Capitol Police are in a much better position and appear more prepared than they were back on January 6th.
There's one more big happening that I want to ask you about before you go, Nikole. President Biden has been meeting with two moderate Democrats who have raised concerns over their party's $3.5 trillion spending plan. What's the latest that you can tell us on this?
Well, the work continues on that as well. We do know on the House side that for the most part they have finished their work. Most of the House committees over the better part of these last 2 weeks has been marking up this legislation and, kind of making their own tweaks and fixes to the various components of this bill. Ultimately, it will all be compiled through the Budget Committee to come out with that final product and that final bill. So, but look, things have gotten kind of contentious, not only on the House side, where some lawmakers have expressed concerns about some component of this bill and the price tag, but also on the Senate side, where you still have some of these moderate lawmakers far apart. You have folks like Senator Manchin, who has made clear that he believes that $3.5 trillion price tag should come down. You have, folks like Senator Sanders who say, we've brought it down far enough. We're not going to do that. And so we do know that both of the Senators Manchin and Sinema, who has also been concerned about the price tag, did meet with President Biden earlier today at the White House. And so, the White House says that this was strictly about his Build Back Better agenda. Also, Senator Sinema saying that this was a productive meeting that she had. But look, clearly there's got to be some arm twisting involved to try to especially get these particular senators on board, given their reservations. I asked Leader Schumer about that yesterday. How do you get everybody on the same page when, people have different perspectives on this? And he still continued to express confidence that at the end of the day, he'll be able to, get unity within his conference to get this done. Speaker Pelosi has done the same as well. But, we'll see as this process plays out.
Not done until it's done. Bringing us everything from Washington.
Exactly.
Nikole, thank you.
Right. You bet.